ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සඳහා කෘත්‍රිම බුද්ධි ජාතික සැලසුම් රාමුවක් ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම මෙතුලින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ විවිධ ක්ෂේත්‍රවල කෘත්‍රිම බුද්ධිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් මොන වගේ වැඩ කටයුතු සැලසුම් මොකක්ද කියලා හඳුන්වා දීම තමයි අද දවසින් අපි කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. අධ්‍යාපනය හෝ වේවා, සෞඛ්‍ය හෝ වේවා, අනිත් ක්ෂේත්‍රවල කෘත්‍රිම බුද්ධිය භාවිතා කරගෙන රටක් හැටියට අපි කොහොමද තාක්ෂණයත් එක්ක ඉදිරියට යන්නේ කියන එක තමයි අපි මේකෙන් සැලසුම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
To give us an overview of the AI policy launch for 2019, and can we have a round of applause as he joins us here.
To the launch of the AI policy framework drafted by SLASSCOM. It is without a doubt one of the few times a private sector driven entity like SLASSCOM is taking lead and the initiative to drive a policy discussion. What you have with you is a draft policy framework that SLASSCOM is using to drive debate and discussion so that in 6 months from now, we will have a real policy in our hands. At SLASSCOM, we believe that we need to act now, or we as a nation will be left behind. The Sri Lankan IT industry is remarkably resilient. We grew 23% CAGR even in times of war. We have over 80,000 people working in the IT industry and last checked about 1.2 billion in revenue. Even while and just after the 21 April attacks, there were companies delivering IT services for their clients. As a country, we have a wonderful mindset. We managed to roll with the punches and punch well above our weight class. I am proud to be part of this industry, and we are truly an island of ingenuity. Ingenuity being two things. Ingenuity meaning the word of bringing in innovation, as well as being genuine and having a genuine mindset. In today's overview, I want to cover two main points. One is the opportunity, the why we are here. And the second is a very quick overview, or how do we get there.
There can be two sources of datafied data, right? It can be in the public sector. The advantages are that it generally tends to be rather comprehensive. So, big enough, right? Maybe it won't have that variability element in some cases, but it's obviously attractive. Then there is also data on the private sector side, right? So, for example, one of the most valuable kinds of data that we see are the data sets that are in the mobile industry, right? That gives you physical mobility as well as communication and various other things, right? And then, we actually believe that you can tell the weather from mobile industry data, right? You can say whether it's raining or not. There's extraordinary possibilities with the microwave links and so on, right? So there's a whole range of possibilities there. Now, a lot of competitive industries, people don't like to share data for obvious reasons. They turn to government and say, you are a monopoly, you are a public service, share the data. Okay, makes sense. That's a general philosophical point that we should accept, right? There can be, as Jayanta pointed out, you have the general principle that all government data is now available to the citizens. That's the core principle of right to information, with limited exceptions for national security, competition, privacy, and so on. The question is government capable of giving this data? Does it have the data? That's the first challenge, right? There are questions whether the Electricity Board, which is a government organization and the largest and most sophisticated government organization, actually has digitized maps and so on to cover. It covers every household in this country. It's an extraordinarily valuable data set. If you want to go for data, that's the one to go for, right? Because we have pretty much 100% penetration in the country. That's the data set you want to go for, right? You can't even say that about about mobile. That's 78% or 80 something percent of households have phones, not 100%. Electricity, you're approaching 100, right? But do they have the data? Do they have the digitized maps, right? So the issue with data.gov.lk, which I was a great admirer of and a proponent of, is that it's actually full of obsolete data. I'm sorry to have to say this. As being part of the government that is responsible for it, it is full of obsolete data, and I don't know what use I could make for it. Now we have something called the National Spatial Data Interface, which has got a bit more momentum behind it, which spatial data being provided by different layers of government, particularly the survey department, and we can hang data sets on the spatial frame. Actual numerical data sets can be hung on it. So we are hoping we'll be able to revive that. But the key point in all these things is getting different parts of government to contribute data, contribute current data in decent form rather than in PDFs. In many cases, what they think when you ask them for data is they take something that's at least in a database, in an Excel sheet, convert it into PDF and then give it to you. And you ask them, they say, oh, because we don't want anybody distorting it. That means we don't want anybody processing it either. So these are really big challenges. But I would say we have to keep working on them. Without that, we are not going to make any progress. But we also have to start working on the private sector also stepping up and looking at what data they can share.
World obtained CCTV footage showing how the mob moved into the area and started attacking, and how they looted businesses before smashing them up and setting them alight. Residents in a nearby neighbourhood blamed the police for inaction.
They could have controlled it, then the mob would not.
More than 100 houses were destroyed, so were 96 businesses, several cars and 3 mosques. The people here believe the mob wanted to destroy their livelihoods because they resent their success. To all the families, and says it will hold the culprits accountable. It also says it's carrying out an investigation into why the police took no action. The violence was triggered by a fight over a road traffic incident between this Sinhalese woman's husband and 4 Muslim men. He died a few days later in hospital.
My daughter asks me if her father will return to us someday from another world. She's been thinking a lot and she doesn't eat much now.
Tilaka Padma Kumari doesn't regard the fight as a religious clash. But hardline groups have turned it into just that, and in the process have torn apart communities who've lived together in peace for years. Shamim Chowdhury, TRT World, Kandy, Sri Lanka.